Hello and welcome to Midday Report here on TVP World. I'm your host, Marie Cato. At least 16 people, including 4 children, were killed in Kyiv. Overnight, Russia launched a large-scale drone and missile attack on the Ukrainian capital.
Ukrainian forces say Russia launched almost 600 drones and more than 30 ballistic and cruise missiles at Kyiv. In the city, there's no doubt who's behind this.
It is Russian President Vladimir Putin who is responsible for this war, which he started and does not want to stop. He doesn't just want Donetsk, Luhansk or Crimea. He wants the whole country. He's destroying cities and killing people.
TVP World's guest was on site when the drones and missiles hit.
This also shows that they are more and more just attacking, just hunting the civilians. They don't care about the military targets. What I also know is that in like frontline cities like Kherson, which we visit quite often, that there is a real hunt for civilians. This is what's happening. We don't see any willingness of Russians to negotiate, to find peace.
Russian weapons also struck an EU delegation building.
The EU delegation in Kyiv was damaged by today's Russian strikes on civilian areas. I strongly condemn these brutal attacks, a clear sign that Russia rejects peace and chooses terror. Our full solidarity goes to EU staff, their families, and all Ukrainians enduring this aggression.
The Ukrainian president has called on Russia's allies to condemn Moscow's attacks.
We expect a reaction from China to what is going on. China has repeatedly called for not expanding the war and for a ceasefire. Yet this is not happening because of Russia. We expect a reaction from Hungary.
Search and rescue operations are underway in Kyiv. The death toll could still rise.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has said she is outraged by Russia's overnight attack on Kyiv, in which an EU office was hit. Von der Leyen has said that the EU will soon present a new package of sanctions against Moscow.
Keeping maximum pressure on Russia. That means tightening our sanctions regime. We will come forward soon with our 19th package of hard-biting sanctions. And in parallel, we are advancing the work on the Russian frozen assets to contribute to Ukraine's defense and reconstruction. And of course, we are ensuring strong, unwavering support to Ukraine, our neighbor, partner, friend, and our future member.
European Union Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas said on Thursday that the EU is summoning Moscow's envoy in Brussels after Russia's overnight drone and missile attack on Ukraine's capital damaged the EU delegation's building. Kallas wrote on X that she has spoken with colleagues in Kyiv following the Russian strike. She said, "No diplomatic mission should ever be a target. In response, we are summoning the Russian envoy in Brussels." Ukraine's foreign minister says Hungary is on the wrong side of history. His comments after his Hungarian counterpart accused Kyiv of attacking Budapest's sovereignty by damaging the Druzhba pipeline, which transports oil from Russia to Hungary and Slovakia.
How shameless to post this after a brutal attack by terrorist state Russia. Peter, if the Russian pipeline is more important to you than the Ukrainian children killed by Russia this morning, this is moral decay. Hungary is on the wrong side of history. We'll take mirror action.
French President Emmanuel Macron has officially called Parliament for an extraordinary session set for September the 8th. Prime Minister François Bayrou, who requested the meeting, intends to ask the MPs for a vote of confidence. However, the opposition has already announced it will oppose the motion, and as a result, the French government may collapse. At present, the opposition parties hold enough seats to likely defeat the vote of confidence, signalling that Bayrou is poised to lose and consequently resign. Despite this, Bayrou is determined to start consultations with the relevant parties on Monday. He declared on Wednesday evening that he is open to, quote, all negotiations, provided that the parties agree on the urgent need to address France's escalating public debt. The Prime Minister recently compared the country to a sinking boat, with its debt of €3.3 trillion euros threatening to sink the nation. The life of the nation is at stake, he warned in his first television interview since the announcement that he would seek the confidence vote over his 43.8 billion euro budget squeeze. As the unrest in Serbia continues, our correspondent Don Arleth interviewed Natasha Vučković, director of the Center for Democracy Foundation, about the impact of the protests on the government's approval ratings. The next parliamentary elections in Serbia will be held by December 31st, 2027.
We are now in almost 10 months of protests. The students' movement has become actually the civic movement. And we have recently heard the report of the Ministry of Interior that in the last couple of months there were 23,000 of rallies and various gatherings of citizens in the country, which is an amazing fact to my understanding. So the question for Vučić is actually how does he perceive the electorate and to which extent actually he has preserved his electorate. Because if we see the numbers from the last elections, we can see that the opposition got, let's say, around 1,100,000 votes, and the rest was for the coalition of Vučić, okay? So the question is to which extent actually the students and the civic movement has taken the electorate from the other side.
The Polish Defense Ministry is releasing a civil defense guide. The document is already up on the government's website and available for print. The ministry says it will also soon be distributed to every Polish household.
The book contains guidelines on how to behave in emergency situations. And it's not just about the worst-case scenarios like war. It's also about hurricanes, natural disasters, floods, fires and terrorist attacks. It details best practices to follow when we're forced to evacuate our homes. We are releasing this guide to raise awareness and spread knowledge. It's written in plain, accessible language and features beautiful graphic design. Writing down emergency contact numbers, prescription medicine regimens, useful addresses, this all may seem like a very distant issue, but we have to remember what happened in Ukraine in February 2022, when millions were forced to evacuate their homes overnight.
Poland's Prime Minister Donald Tusk has promised that attackers who physically assaulted former Health Minister Adam Niedzielski will go to prison for their crime. Adam Niedzielski headed Poland's health ministry from 2020 to 2023 under the previous conservative Law and Justice government. He was attacked on Wednesday afternoon by two assailants in downtown Siedlce, about 100 kilometers east of Warsaw. He was taken to hospital following the incident, although a doctor later told the press that the former minister's injuries were not life-threatening. Tusk vowed on X that the assailants would be caught and jailed. Poland's oil giant Orlen has announced that it is taking part in a joint venture to build Europe's first small nuclear power plant. Earlier this year, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk revealed that a deal had been signed with the Westinghouse Bechtel consortium to build a Polish nuclear power plant in the country's northern Pomerania region. Orlen will partner with Warsaw-based Synthos Green Energy to build a BWRX 300 small modular reactor. The Orlen Synthos Green Energy project will be built in Włocławek in central Poland. An Orlen document says that the company intends to operate two SMR reactors with a total capacity of 0.6 gigawatts by 2035. In an interview with TVP World, analyst Rasto Kuzel praised Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk's presence at Moldova's Independence Day celebrations, saying that the EU's credibility hinges on ensuring Moldova doesn't present another situation like Georgia, referring to the recent political unrest witnessed in the country.
Poland's role is clearly very, very important. I mean, maybe some would have expected him to also join the EU leaders when traveling to the US for the occasion that I just mentioned. But I think here, it was super important, for Donald Tusk to join the other two leaders of the Weimar Triangle. And he is absolutely right in the message that he conveyed yesterday, because I think Donald Tusk also understands that EU's credibility hinges on sort of ensuring Moldova is not another Georgia, and again in this Poland does play a big role as clearly the sort of biggest country of the Central Europe, and so yeah, I think that message was very important.
German prosecutors identified all members of the group suspected of sabotaging the Nord Stream pipeline in 2022, 6 months after the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Arrest warrants have been issued for 6 Ukrainian citizens who possibly arrived in Germany from Poland using false Ukrainian passports. The journalistic investigation conducted by German media reveals that the saboteurs may have collaborated with the Ukrainian state. They had ties to Ukrainian intelligence and the military. However, there is no clear evidence that Ukraine was behind the operation. The Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines, which run on the Baltic seabed between Russia and Germany, were badly damaged by blasts in September 2022. The group allegedly set off from Rostock on Germany's northeastern coast in a sailing yacht to carry out the attack near the Danish island of Bornholm. Poland will face Slovenia in their opening game of the European Basketball Championships. Before the match, Polish players have said that they are ready for the battle and that tonight's game in Katowice may prove to be crucial.
We want to win this first game because it may be the most important one in this group. We are ready, and I think we are very well prepared.
We play as a team. I mean, defensively and offensively, we're always having each other's backs, and we're going to play 1,000%, every minute of the game. So we're just going to try to cover each other's. It's a team game. It's not going to just be one person or one person to solve everything. So I think that's our biggest strong point.
We are ready for battle. It's a dream come true for everyone to play in this type of event at home, in Poland. We will see how it goes when the whistle blows, but we are definitely well prepared, and we have a good plan to stop Slovenia.
On August 27th, movie stars from all over the world traveled to Venice as the city welcomed its 82nd annual film festival. The event hosts Hollywood stars like George Clooney, Julia Roberts, and Dwayne Johnson, and directors Guillermo del Toro and Catherine Bigelow, who all have films debuting over the next 10 days. In grand style, the Venice Film Festival, the world's oldest, has kicked off with flashing lights and glowing gowns on the red carpet. The evening's brightest star, however, was German filmmaker Werner Herzog, who was presented with the Golden Lion for Lifetime Achievement, the highest award given in Venice. Herzog is a pioneer of new German cinema, characterized by daring, unconventional shoots that often puts casts and crews into extreme real-life situations. And this wraps up Midday Report. Thank you so much for joining us, and stay tuned for more on TVP World. Goodbye.